it's Presley of ActOutGames.com here, and today we're going to be hometown tourists and go see the new Union Station and Tattered cover. But first, check out this cool hallway. So we're here at the newly renovated Union Station. We got to take the light rail here, which is always fun. The light rail was very crowded because there is a baseball game here today. So the train was pretty crowded because everyone wants to come see it. We're here to get a little burger at Union Station before we head to Tattered cover because we're kind of hungry, and the burgers here are really good. Okay, so we're at Tattered cover, and this is the one time I was here at Smell-O-Vision. It smells so good in here. It smells like fresh books, and fresh books is like the best smell in the world. If they sold candles, I'd buy them all. So we're at Tattered cover bookstore, and we're going to take a look around and see what books we find. So what we're going to do here is we're going to buy two different books, and my dad's going to read one, I'm going to read one. And what we used to do and what we are going to start doing again is I'm going to read my book, and my dad's going to read his book. And then at the end of, well, we normally have a section where we both go read downstairs, and then we read, and then we go and we talk to each other about what happened in our books, and that is how I kind of read Game of Thrones. I didn't exactly read it, but that's how I know about Game of Thrones. So my dad read it, and he told me like an edited version of what happened. So we're going to see if we can find two books to do that again. Okay, so they actually have their own printing thing here, and you can actually print your own books here, and you can even take a book that you wrote and have it be printed here, which is pretty awesome. So I might actually get one of my stories printed out here. Okay, so I'm going to show you the books that we got here. We got The Search for Wonderla, which sounds pretty cool in itself. It's a girl raised by a robot, and I turned it over. Rick Riordan likes it. I'm going to definitely get this. And there's a web, and at the website, there's this webcam thingy monitor, which allows you to like have this interactive story. It can be interactive, which is pretty cool. Oh, and I see some of my favorite books behind you. I'll have to show those in a second. And then my dad got a new John Green book called Paper Towns. And then of course, I got the Percy Jackson and the Olympians Ultimate Guys, and it does this. That's one of the reasons why I love it. And we did not get this random comic book, which is sitting next to me. So I'll show you the new books. I found the Familiars. Yes, that is my top favorite series. It's so wonderful. It is first place, and then there's a big mess at second place of Percy Jackson, Harry Potter, and all these things, but Familiars is definitely my favorite series, and I absolutely love it. So if you guys have not, please check out the Familiars. They're amazing books. Okay, so now that we have gotten our new books and are ready to start reading, we are going to go into our reading spots. I read in my little swing cherry thingy, and my dad reads in the hammock, and once we're finished reading, we curl up in the hammock and talk about what we read. So, The Search for Wonderla starts out where the main character was bitten by a snake and is dying.
Okay.
Which is obviously a very strange way to start a book with the main character dying. And then it turns out she's in the future, and she's doing this weird robotic survival test. So she didn't actually die. So she's doing the survival test to see if she can go outside of her robotic house thing, because she has never been outside before, or maybe she's been before, but I don't think she's been outside before. So she's trying to pass the survival test so she can go outside. And she failed the survival test, of course, because she got bitten by a snake. And then she wakes up, and then after that is the end of the chapter. She just goes into her room and falls asleep. And then she wakes up. In the next chapter, she wakes up, and she goes to the kitchen to cut like this big strawberries, like huge strawberries, which isn't very important part of the thing. And then she is cutting strawberries, and then she drops a knife, and she cuts a little bit of her thumb off. She just scratches her thumb a little bit, not like lop it off. Like mine? Yes, but just a small cut on her finger. And then she goes to this weird closet roomy thing, which has a lot of stuff in it. And there's this secret door in the back that it just says that she's not supposed to know about it. And then she gets a bandage and stuff. And in the next chapter, this chapter does end on a cliffhanger. She goes into the closet, and that's where Search for Wanda has stopped for me. It's a very interesting way.
She went in the secret door, or just went in the closet?
She went in the secret door.
But you don't know what's in the secret door?
Yes, you don't know what's in the secret door.
Okay, so what do you mean by robot house? You said
house.
that, but I didn't know what you meant.
Okay, so it's a house controlled by robotics. So, like, if you think of future, you'll think of, like, if you think of a futuristic house, you would think of, like, there's this robot called Sanctuary, which controls the house. So you can be like, Sanctuary, please open the door to the bedroom, and Sanctuary will open the door to the bedroom, and you will go into the door of the bedroom. So that's what the robotic house means, which is controlled by robots.
What about her parents?
Her parents. There's no backstory on her parents. She lives with a robot called Muther. It's a misspelling of mother. Muther, M-U-T-H-R. Muther. So she lives with a robot called Muther who instructs her on how to do everything in the survival test. And there's no backstory on her real parents or anything about that. It is said that she is the only human in the area known of, but
she doesn't live with her parents.
No,
she just lives with a robot.
Yes, she just lives with Luther.
Okay. That sounds good. You like it so far?
It's pretty good.
The writing's good?
Yeah, Rick Gordon likes it, so I think it's a pretty good book.
Okay. All right, so mine, I just read the first chapter, and there's a little intro thing before the first chapter, like so there's a little prologue that kind of just intros it. So there's a little boy named Quentin, and he's 9.
9.
And he's got a crush on a girl named Margot, who lives across the street, maybe, or next door. I think it's across the street. And they go out riding their bikes one day and go out to, like, the school playground or something kind of down the street. And when they get to the playground, there's a dead body, like, leaning up against a tree and a bunch of blood and stuff. And, like, in a way that's
obviously not a good place for a first aid.
Right. In a way that's kind of character development in the book. He takes like 2 steps backwards when he sees it away from the body, and she takes 2 steps forward towards the body because she's fascinated by it. And she gets so close that she gets blood on her shoes before he finally convinces her that they need to go and call the police.
Yes.
And so they both go home, and like his parents, I think, call the police, and they can hear the sirens go by, and he wants to go see the fire truck, and his parents won't let him go see what's going on.
There's a fire truck involved in this?
Yeah, like paramedics and stuff, right? And so he goes to bed and goes to sleep, and then that night somebody knocks on his window, and it's Margot, and she's come, and she's got a little notebook, and she's figured out all of this stuff about who the person was, and like why they died. Like, she's been interviewing people, and she's like Scooby-Doo. She's been going around, like, getting into mysteries and trying to solve the mystery and figure out what happened and stuff, right? And then he closes the window and goes to bed, basically. And then that's where the prologue ends. And then the first chapter, he's in high school. And he's much older now, obviously. Yes. And he's still got a crush on her, it looks like. Yes. But they're not friends really anymore because she's a cool kid and he's kind of a nerdy kid. And so he said he hasn't really talked to her since that night, basically. But he still kind of stares at her in the hallway, I guess. And he's got two friends. One's named Ben and one they call Radar. They call him Radar because there was a TV show called MASH a long time ago. And he looked kind of like the guy named Radar on that TV show. I'll show you him someday. Except he's black, and Radar wasn't black. And Radar wore these big glasses. That was a big part of Radar. And then he got contacts. And he also had a growth spurt, and Radar was real short, and now he's real tall. So now he doesn't look like Radar at all. But they don't feel like changing his nickname, so they still call him Radar. And it's almost time for prom. And so they're all kind of talking about going to prom. And Radar has a girlfriend, so he has a date for prom. And Ben really wants to get a date for prom, so he's trying to find a way to get a date for prom. And Quentin hates prom and doesn't want to go to prom at all, so he's not even really kind of thinking about going to prom. He sees Margot with her boyfriend in the hall, and then they're hanging out at their lockers, and the school bully, the big bully, comes by. And it said that someone in the cool kids club had told the bully to leave them alone. And so he didn't pick on them anymore. But it didn't say who it was or what happened. So they were surprised that the bully came by. And the bully asked him what he knew about Margot and her boyfriend. And he's like, I don't know anything. I don't know what you're talking about.
He hasn't talked to her since they were 9 years old.
Right. That's kind of what he said. I barely know her. And then the bully just walked away. It was kind of a weird little thing. So no one, that's foreshadowing something, I'm sure. But I have no idea what it is yet. And then they go to lunch, and Ben and Quentin have lunch together, but not Radar. And he has a different period that he has lunch. And so Radar's girlfriend came over to talk to them, and they don't really talk to her much, I guess. And she was like, how come he doesn't invite me over to his house or to hang out with you guys? And they kind of looked at each other and kind of laughed and told her something just to make her happy. And then when she left, after the lunch, they met Quentin and met Radar and told Radar that she was asking about going over to his house. And he said, we found out that he's embarrassed to take her over to his house because his parents have the world's largest collection of black Santas. Okay. Like their house is just covered with black Santas, like statues and a Pez dispenser and paper cutouts and all kinds of stuff. And so he's embarrassed by that and doesn't want to take her over there, which I think is pretty funny. And then he goes home after school and goes to bed, and the chapter ends with there's a knock at his window, and he looks, and who is it? Margot, for the first time since they were 9. Yes. And so that's how the chapter ends.
The same time. It's not the same time.
It's the same kind of thing. Let's think how it ended. Yeah, that's right. It was nice foreshadowing, and then it came back up and did exactly the same thing. And so the second chapter, I guess, will be her coming in and finding out. And I'm sure there's some mystery or something that she wants to solve. Yes. And she's going to drag him along on some mystery. So that's how my chapter went.
So these are obviously very interesting books so far.
So far, I'm really interested. Yeah, I like it a lot.
Yep.
It's good. It's fun. The writing is pretty funny. John Green's funny when he writes. He writes a lot of really funny stuff. Okay, cool. That sound good? Yeah. Okay, so that's what we do. We do a couple of times a week, and we're both also reading other things.
Yes, we are both reading House of Hades.
We're both reading House of Hades, and I'm reading. We read a lot, and we both read quite a bit. But this is the one book that we'll keep, and we'll only read it during this time. Yes. So that we kind of stay at the same pace and read together and do a chapter several times a week, and then curl up and talk about it. But
I think we used to do it every day, but then that stopped because I have school.
We started reading different things too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or when we're reading the same book, it's harder to do this.
Yes,
it's
because
more fun.
I might spoil him, and you might spoil me with it. So.
It's more fun when we're telling each other about stuff
different
that we're not reading. Yeah. Yes. So it's cool to get back on the tradition. This is one of our favorite traditions too.
As well as favorite things.
When we talk about favorite things or the days of Christmas when we get to those. But yeah, this is a really fun way that we like to spend some time together and do some reading.
Yay.
Cool. Okay. You do your sign off.
So yeah, thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye-bye.